It's the same as why would somebody go mountain climbing or hang gliding or any other type of thrill activity. Just for the excitement of it, to stand in front of a tornado is just an amazing feeling. And it's kind of a challenge to try to forecast where in the country the severe thunderstorms are going to occur and try to get yourself into position to see the tornado. And you really have to have a good understanding of storm structure, what kind of storms produce tornadoes, where within that storm the tornado is going to appear. And you can actually safely get pretty close to the part of the storm where a tornado would be developing and photograph it and view it safely if you really know what you're doing.
Anyone else?
I had the privilege at Ohio State to go storm chasing with the storm chasing group there, and I think when you break it down, just like biology, you can dissect a storm into different parts. And once you know what part's going to produce a tornado and where it's going to occur, and you can see it visually, it's a lot safer than what it seems. It's still a crazy thing to do, I get it, but once you dissect it and you can analyze it, you can get in a relatively safe spot. Tornadoes obviously can change direction. It's not something that you can necessarily predict on the dime, so certainly a risk that gets involved there. But I think the big key is tuning in where that storm's exactly going to hit. And we actually saw EF0 tornado in Russell, Kansas back. It was in the 90s, but. Pretty exciting sight. I was scared out of my mind, but it was a good experience.
I will say, though, as well, for those of you who are thinking about all the reporters that stand outside in the middle of a hurricane or in the middle of a severe thunderstorm, for the record, I've been out in just about everything there is, and yeah, it is a little scary when you are out there. So when we're standing outside and saying go inside, from firsthand knowledge, we'll tell you, I've been out in numerous hurricanes and nor'easters along the coastline, and if we're warning you to get inside, it's a good bet that we wish we were there too.
Yes.
So I've been sort of storm chasing through work, obviously, but kind of can be a scary experience at times.
Yeah, well, I haven't chased in quite a while. I think that the main reason, at least initially years ago, was the adrenaline rush. And I think that, the old phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words, well, then a live tornado has got to be worth 1,000,000. So that really was my incentive to go out and look. To this day, I've never seen a tornado yet in person. A couple of funnel clouds, but that's about it. But I'll keep looking.
And at one time in my life, it was something I certainly desired to do, but that was before children.
Yeah.
Since having children, my desire to do that, I'm in the basement with them. I prefer to be there.
Yeah, my poor husband, I don't know how it always falls on my day off that I end up chasing. Jim, how many times have I called you guys chasing on Utica? Chasing on the one that went through Richmond Park and Green Garden. I don't know how many times that I've been out and I'm on the phone with you or Mark or somebody out at the Weather Service. And I have seen tornadoes, and it is an adrenaline rush. You know what, we're just all freakishly geeky, okay? We love the weather, that's why we do it. And at some point, you want to see a tornado. I'm a mom now too, so's Megan, and so maybe, I'm not going to convince my husband to go in the truck and drive, because I can't drive and spot at the same time. That's dangerous. I just want to say one thing. If any of you ever want the thrill of doing it, they actually have organized tours that will take you. They have classes. College of DuPage had a fabulous class going on where you can go for a couple of weeks, and then they take you out on a storm chasing event. But they prepare you. They let you know what you're getting in for. And let me tell you what, storm chasing is a lot of sitting on your butt and driving around in a car with good maps to know. Yeah, Dairy Queen. Everywhere there's a Dairy Queen. So it's a lot of hurry up and waiting, but you see that one tornado, and I got to tell you, it is, like Jim said, it is worth it all.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask the audience if they have any questions. Anyone?
Please forgive me if my questions are redundant because I got here a little late. And I would like to know, I have more than one question, but it's a lot of people, so thanks. I would like to know what are you all's thoughts about divine intervention? If all this weather change has something to do with God and the end time. And also the second question is, if all of the wars that's been happening with the United States involvement, with all of the radiation and military and atomic fallout, if that has anything to do with the weather change globally, and also what is the relationship between the human spirit, mind, and from a biological point of view, how does that affect the energy that's affecting the energy of the planet and the weather?
I think my first response to that would be, I think that's above my pay grade. I'm not quite sure I completely could hear the question, so.
I know for sure that there's divine intervention when there's weather, because every time there's a great storm, we all go, oh my God.
You were asking about radiation, things like that. That is above our pay grade. I will say things like a volcanic eruption, the ash and so forth circling the globe can actually drop the temperature a degree or so over a year because it's up in the atmosphere. But I honestly could not answer to what would happen and how many particulates. I know that it gets in the upper atmosphere and everything circles the globe. I could not possibly tell you what the consequences would be of that.
You know, I can't tell you that the military obviously had hundreds of, and maybe not hundreds, it may have been close to 100 nuclear detonations during the time when they were developing the atomic bomb after its development, obviously. We really don't know. I'm not sure, again, if the question is, you think about what happened over in Japan, we've been able to detect some of that radiation over here, but whether or not it would play a role in the weather in any way, shape, or form at this point, I don't think so.
I want to first thank everyone for giving their time. This has been very helpful. I wanted to know from Mrs. Cohen if you could give specific details, maybe a website where we can find the detailed and full Chicago climate change plan. And for Mr. Alvos, I just wanted you to kind of expand on, it seems that you were saying that there's no scientific consensus on human global impact on climate change, especially as it relates to carbon emissions. Mm-hmm. And also, is it really true that there's only one person on this panel that thinks that humans have any impact on the global climate?
I'll answer that first. What I said was, again, there is a consensus or a percentage that those that believe, yes, but there's almost as many that do not concur. Now, I don't know that the argument is that there is no global warming. I think that at this point we will concur that there is global warming occurring. The issue is more of, is it man-made global warming, and to what extent is it occurring?
Yes, and I'm glad you asked that question about where you can get some more information about the Chicago Climate Action Plan. Our website is chicagoclimateaction.org. That's spelled out. And you can also find more information about the Department of Environment on the cityofchicago.org website. And I think, we could talk all day about some of the work that the city is doing, because we engage, in addition to the Department of Public Health and the Office of Emergency Management and Communications with many other city departments and agencies. There's 20 that have committed to Chicago Climate Action Plan work plans, and we're implementing over 500 initiatives that relate to the climate change work that we're doing in Chicago, with work specifically targeted towards adaptation and preparing for climate change. So there's a lot of resources there. And if you look on the chicagoclimateaction.org website, there's also a tab on there that has information about research and reports supporting why we're doing this work. And specifically to your point, asking about the impacts of climate change, we did some research in 2008 when the plan was launched to look at what Chicago's climate would look like by the end of the century. And you can find that report on there too, to provide some more background details about the science behind why we're doing this work.
I'd like to ask a question. First and foremost, I'd like to commend the Department of Environment, what they have done, especially in terms of reducing the emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Because by you planting trees everywhere, especially the female trees, it has really helped us a lot, reducing the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. My question is to the audience. Can we say that because of this problem we're having, the climatic change or the global warming, can we not relate it to the Earth axis? Because the Earth axis, you know that generally it rotates at 66 1/3, and every 4 years it changes to 66 2/3. So can we not say that because of this change in the inclination of the Earth axis, it tends to affect the winds or different things. Can we not say that? And also it affects the pressure, the high pressure area and the low pressure.
I think you were talking about the inclination of the Earth's axis. I don't think you're going to have that much of a dramatic effect in a short-term period. Our climate regime, our total global circulation, takes a little bit longer to adjust, even if you shift it by the most infinitesimal amount after the massive earthquake and tsunami. So I don't think that has any effect on it whatsoever.
If I could touch on a point again, the gentleman had asked earlier. We talk about whether there is a consensus or not and how we believe in man-made global warming. But here's a perfect example in just the last few months how you can make the argument on one side or on the other. And I brought this particular magazine because it illustrated yet a totally different argument, and I'll share this with you as I just read it verbatim. But it's out of a magazine called Weatherwise, and it's really for the layperson. But again, there's some very interesting articles in here. And this one particular article is about global cooling. No, we're talking about is global warming, but here's one that is about global cooling, and I'll read this to you quickly. It says, worried about climate change? Have no fear. The planet is getting colder, at least according to some. This is more than speculation, according to the World Meteorological Organization. Global cooling has received a lot of attention recently, while thousands of scientists diligently study climate change. A backlash has developed that attempts to contradict the organizations. The backlash does not simply contend that these scientific organizations and the thousands of scientists that populate them are wrong, but they are actually getting everything backwards. These skeptics say that we are not in a period of warming, but global temperatures are actually going the other way. We're in for a period of global cooling. So again, this is just an example of how within literally a matter of months you can go from this article that says the world is going to come to an end in the next 60 years to this one that says we're actually going the other way. I think Rick hit it on the head. It's climate variability, and we just don't know yet. But we do need to keep a close eye on it and do all we can to prevent it, if in fact it is happening.
I also wanted to respond quickly to the gentleman. Thank you so much for commending the work we're doing with the Department of Environment. And this event like this today is great to see people that are interested in this work. And the Department of Environment is running a program called the Chicago Conservation Corps. So it's a program that does educational outreach about the environment and also supports leadership in the community. So those who are interested in doing work, they care about these issues and want to do some work in their communities in Chicago, it's a great resource to be able to provide resources to support your work, to learn about the issues more in depth and be able to teach others about the programs that we're running with the Department of Environment and the actions that you can take in your own communities. You can find some more information about that on our website.
So my question is, what can be done to keep the ability to respond to and plan for severe weather to be based on privilege?
Watch more local television.
Yeah.
Seriously, I hate to sound that way, and I'm not on local TV full time, but these people here provide an extremely valuable service. And Jim Alsop at the Weather Service will tell you that their blizzard warning went out 3 days before that blizzard occurred, yet we still have what I call an urban catastrophe on Lakeshore Drive. And then on Memorial Day, we had literally close to an urban catastrophe at North Avenue Beach. I think most of the weather forecasts today are so much better than what they used to be, yet I think less and less people are watching local TV. However, studies have shown that the most watched segment in a newscast is the weather forecast. And when people say, holy smoke, I didn't realize it was going to be this bad, usually it's because they're probably not paying attention to Megan and Tracy in the morning and Tammy on the weekends and Andy on the weekends as well. I think the information is there. I think it just has to be disseminated better and trusted more.